Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where purpose meets performance. Hosted by business strategist and human behavior specialist Carly Pepin, this show dives into the real stories behind high-growth businesses. Let's bring life to your vision.
Hey guys, so welcome to the show today. This one's going to be a really exciting podcast. I'm looking forward to this. I have Shari Cedar on. For 25 years, Shari Cedar has been leading with purpose and passion, whether in TV production, where she spent her first chapter, or commercial cleaning, where she has fully dedicated her second chapter to creating growth opportunities for AK Building Services. Shari's presence is felt by all. As a CEO and co-owner of AK Building Services, an industry-leading family-owned and operated commercial janitorial services provider in Florida that Shari owns with her husband, Mark, Shari is a laser focused on leadership and growing the organization for the team. Shari represents the company as a member of the Building Owners and Managers Association International, BOMA, CREW, Commercial Real Estate Women Network, BSCAI, and the Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce. When Shari is not serving her clients and teammates, she can be found supporting her community. She's a board member for the PACE Center for Girls, a board member for the Florida Executive Forum, a board member for the Executive Association of Fort Lauderdale, a member of Women United, and a member of the Nova Southeastern University Ambassador Board. As a working mom of two boys, Shari hopes to pass on her commitment to making a difference both in business and in the community. So welcome, Shari.
Thank you. I'm exhausted listening to that.
They're kind of fun to listen to. I feel like it just sometimes centers me in and just reminds me, oh yeah, I do that. Okay, that's what I do, because we're so stuck in our day to day.
I know. Well, I'm in exhausted. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really busy.
You are really busy, girl. Well, tell me a little bit about this, because you did have a successful career in TV before you started AK Building Services. So I'm curious, what made you want to transition from being a TV producer to this business, which seems completely different?
Let me just clarify to say there was no aha moment where I said, wow, I want to go from being a TV producer, journalist to janitorial. Like there was never that aha moment. But what there was a really awesome, I guess, growth and transition of me personally, professionally, and with my family. So it was more gradual. May I share the story behind it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So essentially, my husband, Mark, grew up in the commercial cleaning business. So this didn't come completely out of nowhere. And he knew the business, but when I met Mark, he was not at all involved in commercial cleaning. He was a CPA, et cetera, and I was in television production. And one day, literally on a mountain in Colorado, and we were at a TV shoot that I was doing, I brought him with me. He said, I don't want to work for anyone anymore. I want to build something for myself. And I said, okay, go for it. I mean, we jumped off the cliff quite literally and figuratively that day because it was an awesome powder day. I will never forget it. Like, epic. But I think that really started this entrepreneurial journey that Mark and I were on. At that time, I absolutely love journalism. I love television production. I love like swooping into a world, learning everything there is to learn about it, and then distilling that down and telling a story. Like to me, that was the best job in the world. And I loved it. But I think as we evolve as humans, and I will even venture to say as women, with marriage and children, suddenly a shift happens. And I think after sort of, I hate to say seeing the movie the same number of times, but after you do something a certain amount of times, I sort of felt like, what's next for me? And Mark, after a very particularly difficult shoot I was on, said to me, why are you building things for other people? Why aren't you building something with me for our family? And then it was like mic drop, you know? But that really resonated with me and planted the seeds for me to say, wow, he's right.
Hmm.
And then from there, I never really looked back. And it is a big shift. When I quit one of my jobs to say I'm leaving a hit television show to move with my husband to South Florida to start a commercial cleaning company, they were like, "What?" Nobody could really wrap their head around the fact that you would work 20 plus years to reach a level in your career that most
Mhm,
people would say, wow, you're where you need to be. Cruise, keep going. And I just walked away from it.
mhm. Amazing. I'm curious too, because when you guys thought about commercial cleaning, that was just something like your husband had been researching? What did that look like?
Well, I think in life, you go with what you know.
Awesome.
And Mark was very clear that he wanted to be an entrepreneur. He wanted to build a business. He loves numbers and the fundamental of business. And this is what he knew. Would we have chosen it otherwise? Uh, Probably not. But but so that's how that started. And the more I like dipped my toe in, and we kept going to say, well, this is a people business. This is a service business. I feel great about what we do for creating jobs and
Mhm,
helping our community. And I found creativity in business
mhm.
and like really a passion for building a company.
Mhm. Amazing. I'm curious too because I mean this is a big operation. So you have about 800 people. Could have gone up since I last talked to you. So this is a big operation. When you think about even the production dynamic, what skills would you say have been brought onto this company that you learned as a producer?
Well, you might not draw the immediate parallels to television production or being a producer, but I would say you look at life as pre-production, production, and post-production, right?
Yeah.
That's very applicable to my industry. Pre-production, how are you going to prepare? Whether that's for a client meeting, doing your research. Pre-production, you're starting a new contract, a new customer. What do I need to prepare? How do I hire the staff? How do I train them on how do I onboard, get everything ready? Um, Same, every facet of a business, pre-production, then production, you're doing it, you're in it, you're keeping, straight. And then you're dealing with your talent, right? You're dealing with your
Mhm.
customer. There's no difference. And then post-production, I would say is once your contract's in place, or let's just say you've got a hit a show and it's now airing in your continuous, how do you maintain your high standards?
Mhm.
How do you create your playbook? How do you replicate and keep the high quality? And then how do you scale? So if you look at in terms of a show that was once a TV pilot, and then look it to a long-term series. I mean, what's Survivor been on 20 something years at this point?
Mhm.
When you build a business and you scale and you grow, it's the same principles.
That's awesome. It's funny because I had never linked that up for myself. I did fashion advertising, and I did the creative direction and production. And it's like, oh my gosh, I do the same thing where everything's pre-production, production, post-production. And it's a kind of a really cool way to set it up because I feel like it gives me just more of an opportunity to experience that production dynamic. If I'm fully prepared, I could enjoy the production one and the experience of actually creating it a little bit more.
Well, I think you would agree that in every facet of our life, if you don't do pre-production, production is not smooth, right? Like
Yeah.
when you do the homework and you prepare ahead of time and you put in the work ahead of time, everything is better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to talk a little bit about the culture, the people, because it's a little bit different with you guys. Like a lot of your business and a lot of the janitors, they're doing night shifts. So that's kind of a different dynamic. When you look at that, I mean, that can be really hard for people. And I know that some people probably really thrive off of it and some people struggle more. How do you guys help the employees to have like a culture within a company that's kind of a night shift business?
It's a great question, something we talk about all the time. How do you have a company culture and communicate and have that feeling of belonging? So that's hard. So it starts from leadership of inclusivity and down to your managers, right? To make everyone feel part of a team. So we do that a number of ways. Technology is brilliant for this in the janitorial specific software we use, to communicate with people, to update people. Team meetings, really important. Site visitations, celebrating the wins together. Valentine's Day, sharing chocolate M&Ms. All the little things that bring humanity together are really important. And for our management level, having those monthly meetings to inspire, share new technology, share information, and then make sure that that's being trickled down to the team.
Awesome. And I'm curious too, because I know that you really put an emphasis on like the employees are the heart of the organization, right?
Yeah.
So how do you connect with them? How do you interact with them in a different way? Because I know, I mean, it's a lot of people. You can't see everyone all the time.
I wish I could, but we cover a large geographic area. Um, so we do the best we can. I actually recorded a video that I shared with the team recently, and that was kind of fun because I can't be everywhere at all the time. Um, so I think for Mark and I, we try to divide and conquer and do a site visit, say hello, give someone a hug, say thank you for all you do. And our area managers, are the front line for that. And they're continually visiting the team members with the same passion and appreciation that we have.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. When you think about even the area managers, are you guys hiring up from the company or do you reach out to find other individuals or is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. I think the ideal scenario is to have someone within the organization who you can promote. We have, I mean, gosh, we have one of our area managers. He's as an associate manager a long time ago, and he was green and he's risen through the ranks to be one of our leading managers of an entire region. And we're so proud of him. It's like, it's really incredible to see that. Now, on the same token, it's also great to hire outside of the organization because we only know what we know. So, so when you hire somebody who came from another commercial cleaning company and they can offer another point of view, I welcome that as well. So
Mhm.
to me, I love the mix of promoting from within, but when the right opportunity comes, to bring someone from the outside.
Yeah, I love that. It's true because they can bring just such a fresh perspective sometimes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they'll say, "Why are you doing this?" You're like, "Well, because it's how we've always done it." They're like, "Well, why don't you do it this way?" You're like, "Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
brilliant. How did I miss that?" You know. But we're like, in life and anything you do, right? We're very like this, and it's hard to get out of your fishbowl.
For sure. For sure. That's really cool. And I'm curious too, like, what are the daily, weekly behaviors from leadership that kind of keeps this company and like the culture intact within the company as you guys continue to scale?
Oh gosh. All right. So let me think about that. What are the daily and weekly activities to keep the culture? Well, I would say we'll start with we have a monthly meeting of all of our area managers, right? The monthly meeting is super important to get not virtual, in the same room, breaking bread, having lunch, you know, having some fun together. And I would take it a step further. We did a 3-day retreat this year, a local one, and we did Iron Chef together as a
That's
company.
cool.
And let me tell you, you had to, if for those of you who don't know Iron Chef, you're given like whole farm table of ingredients and you divide into teams and then you get a secret ingredient and you have 1 hour to create dishes, right? And
Mhm.
and it's the level because you're communicating and seeing people differently. So that was at leadership level. On a daily level, with our flex team, which is another group of individuals we have a daily call, right? It keeps everyone together. It's like a huddle. We'll call it the daily huddle that sports teams have. Um, and within um, local job sites, a lot of our teams kick off with a daily meeting.
That's awesome.
Everyone checks in with each other. How's it going? What are you doing? I also have a lot of WhatsApp chats. WhatsApp? Yes, WhatsApp chat. I almost said WhatsApp chat, but we have a lot of WhatsApp chats. But I will tell you, it takes work and it takes a very conscious frame of mind to keep culture at the forefront
Mhm.
because we live in a very fast-paced environment. We're in a service industry, and when customers they want it done now, and if they have an emergency that has to be done now, and sometimes everyone's having an emergency, how do you manage that? And you have to really make sure to say your thank yous and pleases and start with compliments. And we're human, people make mistakes, nobody's perfect. But when those things happen with your team members, okay, how are we going to do better next time? So I guess mindfulness is really important in
Mhm.
the day to day.
That's awesome. I love that you guys do the daily huddles too. I know how valuable that can be, even those like little check-ins. It's very
Oh, I
cool.
love a huddle. I love
Hmm.
a huddle.
I know. They're fun. They're fun. They wind up saving so much time, which is nice.
I just really believe while there's a lot that can be done with text and email, first of all, there's a lot of translation that gets
Hmm.
lost. There's a lot of detail that gets lost. And still the art of the human interaction to problem solve together or to simplify processes and
Hmm.
operations and to clarify and confirm. Like people cannot underestimate the value of that and the importance of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm curious too because you guys are in a very regulated industry that can be very demanding because you're also working at hospitals, which is,
Yeah.
very, very regulated. So there are really high standards. So how do you manage to balance that dynamic of having high standards while still leading with some level of compassion, kindness, especially I imagine coming from the film industry. I don't know, but it's similar to fashion
Well,
industry, but
look,
oh,
high
it's really
standards are
special.
non like anything less than a high standard is a non-negotiable. Okay. So when you're dealing with cleaning products, non-negotiable. You mix bleach and ammonia, someone could die.
Yeah.
So we take that very seriously. So training is very important. Um, and supervision is very important. And you can have all the compassion in your world, but those things can't happen. So it's a mix of
Mhm.
structure and training along with compassion.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. If you're really resonating with what we're talking about and want to get clear on what truly drives you, what your core values are, head on over to my website. In the tools and tips section, there is a free values assessment. And this is a quick exercise that's going to help you to uncover what actually matters most with you so you can lead and live with more clarity, fulfillment, and momentum. Yeah. And
It's very important.
if there are mistakes and someone isn't performing, like, how do you guys, what's your system for either correction or is there a certain point where you just know you have to let people go?
Well, look, I think
Mhm.
everybody deserves the opportunity to relearn and to be retaught. And a lot of it is if you have somebody who's clearly not the right attitude or fit for the organization because they're not open to training or open to learning, they're probably not the right fit for our organization. Right. But if
Mhm.
somebody is willing to learn and says, "Yes, teach me." There's always a spot here for them. And if it's too much to be in a healthcare environment, maybe there's an office building that's less regulated that maybe makes more sense for them. Or if some people don't play well with others, but they work as a very great associate on their own, let's put them in a building where they have more independence.
Mhm.
Um, you're just sort of mindful and look at people's assets positive and to see how that can best work for them and for the company and most importantly for the customer.
Yeah, I'm curious too, what are your company values? Like as I'm listening to this, I feel like they're starting to come and piece together, but I'm just if you share them.
I mean, company values, I'm supposed to know that by heart, right? But for us, company values, it's really trust and transparency.
Mhm.
We're a partner. We are not a vendor. I am a partner. And that translates into everything we do. So We look out for our customer. We look out for each other as associates and a company. We put people first. We don't say no. We say, let's figure this out. We problem solve together.
Mhm.
And so it's, to us, the partnership mentality, trust and transparency, that's who we are.
Yeah. I can tell. It's fun because, as I'm listening, I'm like, I gotta ask her what her values are because I'm starting to see a pattern and a theme that you live by, but it's just, it's nice to actually hear what they are sometimes.
Yeah, and
Mm.
it's, you have to always put it front and center. In fact, we just did a training today for our day porters for with some people, and I reminded the day porters as part of their, not only is their job to make sure the trash is taken out, there's no, if it's raining, a mat down, these are functions of their job. But what people often forget is smile, say good morning, you know, um, your appearance and how you look. Like, you might be the first face that somebody sees when they enter into a building, and you reflect the company's values and the company that you're the customer that you're there. You reflect their values as well. So own that through and through.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool. And as you guys continue to grow the company, what would you say growth looks like for you? Like, where do you guys see yourself going in the future?
So growth is like, it's a loaded term, right? Growth is great, but it's a double-edged sword. So with growth comes challenges and cracks in your organization. So for me, growth means, and when I say not necessarily mine, but in general, right? So if you grow too quickly and you don't have an infrastructure to support your growth, it's like filling a bathtub and the drain is open. So it just, you get new sales, but you lose business. So for me, steady growth is continuing to build a solid operational foundation, investing in people and in leadership. So as we grow, we are steady and have a strong foundation to support that growth.
Mm.
And then growth also means not just revenue growth, but profitability. So it is very important that as we grow, and in an industry that has traditionally thin margins, to keep that up so we can grow in a healthy means, so we can reinvest in the company.
I love that. And when you're looking at like what area to create that growth in, like how do you guys do that? Are you looking for the bottlenecks you currently have to like start with the infrastructure, move forward? What's that process?
Um, I am always like, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not looking at everything all the time. It's just sort of like instinct, like a wellness check on the company. And it's fluid, where you see an area that, okay, I could use more support in this area. That's where my attention goes. Then we work on that. And then I say, oh, we could use more support here. And then that's where I focus. But we do have a strategic plan. I have a people plan and we have a growth plan. We also know that there's a very healthy ratio of, right, what managers can support.
Mhm.
So we always say it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So I'm constantly looking at, like, well, how many employees does each area manager have in their book of business? And if I see they're getting to max capacity or nearing down, I'm not going to wait till they're at max capacity to hire someone else. I'm
Mhm.
going to hire someone else in anticipation of growth. So I have a deep bench. So when the growth comes, I'm ready. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
great.
So it's almost like you're watching a game in real time, some would say, as a play-by-play, while also, and as you go into a game, you know what your game plan is. But you have to be ready to pivot and, move things along.
Yeah, which is also why that healthy cash flow is so important so that you're able to prepare for things like that.
Well, in the world we live in, you have to prepare for the rainy day.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fair. Yeah. That's definitely fair. And I'm curious too, because you call it a family business. I know that you're partners with your husband, but simultaneously, do you guys think that your kids will one day want to like take the reins?
A great question. Just recently, my 17-year-old said to me, Mom, do you ever envision a world I run the family business? And I said, sure, I could see that world, but like my boys need to show interest,
Mhm.
and they need to work for somebody else first.
Yep.
So I am not counting on it, to be totally honest. I think they have very varied interests. So we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. And I'm curious too, because so many parents are like, they think about, are they going to pass their business on to their kids or not? Does that change the long-term strategy of what it looks like for you guys? Like, do you still plan on, you look at a company as maybe something you potentially sell when you're complete, as opposed to passing it on, something that you oversee, just take on like a CEO, and like, what does that look like for you guys?
At this point, we say we have a lot of fuel in the tank.
Hmm.
So we're still in growth mode. We're definitely in growth mode and we're having fun still. I think the day that we're not having fun and maybe the economy turns or who knows, but for now, we just forge ahead and see where it takes us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And even working together as a couple. I know a lot of people like what is your strategy for that? How did you guys formulate that dynamic to be able to work together, live together, have kids together, family together? It's a big life.
I think we're unique. I think we're really unique because a lot of our friends were like, no, there's no way they could do it. It's not for everybody, that's for sure. Mark and I have very definitive roles within the organization. Mark has a very, very strong operational background and financial background. I am more growth, strategy, company culture, the big pictures of things, training. So we complement each other. So we stay in our lane. And I think we've also developed a deep respect for one another in what we bring to the company and to each other. There's no question that if it was just Mark or just me, I'd be um today. I think the combination of both of our skill sets has actually made us
Mm.
successful. And I respect that.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
But I will say there are times, not gonna lie, in the morning, I'm like trying to do my hair and Mark's rattling off a million ideas. And I'm like, dude, not yet. I need a minute, please. And he's like, okay, sorry, sorry, sorry. Um, but we're very good and we're very honest and transparent.
Mhm.
Like, can we just not talk about work right now?
Yep.
And other times the kids are like, talk about the business. We're like, well, what do you think pays for it? What do you think buys our groceries? Um, so we teach, the kids are learning too.
That's cool. That's cool. Oh, it's funny. My husband and I have rule. I don't like to talk past like a certain time at night.
Yeah.
'Cause I go to bed way earlier than him, but his mind tends to spin. And I'll do the same thing. I'm like, not the time. This is not the time. We're not going to do this right now.
Oh my God, that's the worst
Mm.
when you're just about to fall asleep
Yeah.
and he has an idea or something about like unpacking the day. And I'm like, it just settled my heart rate.
Yeah. I like
Like
literally
I'm
just shut
about to
my
get into
mind
dream
off.
state.
I don't want to keep thinking. I turned it off.
Yeah, I know. So you have to manage those things. And then every so often we will go away like to the Keys or somewhere, even
Mhm.
we do a staycation, no work.
Yeah.
We try to be like normal people.
Yeah. Which is sometimes hard because I know you like what you do.
Well, I think when you own your own business, it's you can't turn it off. Like we don't go home at 5 o'clock and say the day is done, right? And a lot of
Mhm.
our majority of our business happens at night after hours. We're 24/7 operation to a degree. And we always have to take phone calls. Weekend doesn't mean it stops for us. You know, that's just part of the deal.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. And I'm curious too, so even in your industry, like when you guys think about the pricing structure, how do you communicate your value without having to go rock bottom on price? Because I imagine that's something that you have to navigate. Like you really just can't always compete on price, or else you wouldn't be able to pay your employees enough sometimes to stay.
Now, look, let me say it like it is. If a customer is all about bottom rock bottom price,
Hmm.
we're probably not the right fit for them. We have all we're self-performing. We have all legal background check, e-verified W-2 employees. We don't subcontract our work.
Hmm.
We're by the book, and we have the proper insurance. We have, backup employees if someone's sick. We do the training. We That is our value as a partner.
Yeah.
Um, and I think there's a customer out there who appreciates that,
Hmm.
appreciates workers wearing uniforms, having training, having quality assurance specialists to check on things. Um, but some people say, look, this is all I can afford.
Hmm.
And we say, okay, well, yeah, that's okay. We're not for everybody. But pricing and especially in Florida, the minimum wage goes up $1 every year until it hits $15. And you do have to share that with customers and explain. And while we
Hmm.
pay above minimum wage, if it goes up for someone, it has to go up for other people too. And we, have to pass that through to customers. Um, and I think for the most part, they understand.
Hmm.
Some say, I'm sorry, I just can't. And then you maybe try to restructure how to make it work.
Hmm. That's interesting. I'm curious too, like, is there like what's the normal retention rate in janitorial? Is it a longer retention?
The numbers, if I say
Mhm.
them to you, don't make sense. Okay.
Okay.
So I think like at one point the industry average was 400%. And you're like, that means everyone is hired and rehired 4 times.
Yeah.
So it's a very confusing situation. We have had many, many long-term associates. We've had team members be with us 10, 15 years, and it's amazing to me, right? They are family. I think where your turnover happens in certain jobs, if somebody doesn't like in 3 days, if they're going to last or not. And there's some,
Mhm.
3 days, boom, and you have some positions that are harder to fill. But for those, when you hit it right and you onboard correctly and you've hired the right person for the right position, it tends to stick.
Yeah.
But that being said, in the industry we're in, people move, people have childcare, people have transportation issues. There are life circumstances that cause it to be
Mhm.
a slightly higher turnover rate than a different industry.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
It's the nature of it.
Yeah. And I'm curious as well, because like even that dynamic with customers, like you guys are definitely partners, right? So it's like we're not just going to come, we're not just going to clean, but we're going to be a partner with you. So there's no expectations for, which I know some people understand this, for me to fill in the gap, like if something happens. So you guys are really partnering up with individuals. When you are looking for clients, like, are you also kind of doing interviews to make sure like they're the right fit? Do you have something just like you interview employees where you look for certain dynamics to make sure that they're going to be great partners for you?
I would say when our sales team goes out there or business development team, there's I guess a due diligence, if you will. And we know the type of customer we're looking for, and we know who we're a good
Mhm.
fit for. So, for example, a building wants a 1 day a week cleaner from 12 to 2.
Mhm.
What employee, you can't hire somebody to work 2 days a week. I mean, 2 hours a week.
Mhm.
You can't really find someone who would want to work just 1 day, right? Our company, our model is recurring revenue, 5 days a week, etc. So you can sort of suss out right away by the questions that you ask a customer in your exploration, we'll call it, to see if they're a good fit for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious too. Oh, what were you gonna say?
No, no, I was gonna say, look, if you just force yourself on someone and you do just like a sales job, like it's just it's it's not successful for anybody.
Yeah.
Like if it's not the right fit, it's not good for us, it's not good for them. It's not worthwhile.
Yeah. I'm curious too, because how long did it take you to develop that understanding of like your perfect model for you guys and your business, that perfect customer? I imagine that that took a little bit of
Oh
time
yeah.
and effort.
I don't know if I could quantify the time, but I think we put a lot of thought into it over the years and we refine. And I'm very good at I love a post-mortem, right? And that's
Mhm,
post-production, what worked and what didn't work. And when you can be honest with yourself and your company, that's why I try and teach our team too, like, let's talk about it. It's not, no one's in trouble. Let's talk about it, what worked, what didn't work. And then you apply that knowledge to be better next time.
yeah.
So as you're looking for sales and customers, like we'll know right away, like, nope, that's not going to fit for us. Nope. Just that location will never find anyone to staff it, and it doesn't
Mhm,
pay enough to have someone in travel time. It's just not going to work. So
yeah.
you live and learn. But yeah, it's this was not overnight.
Yeah.
It's
That's fair.
and you have to take the time, the dedicated time to reflect and be thoughtful about the criteria. You know what I mean? Like people go to work every day and you're like, ah, and you're just cruising through your day. And I think it's part of a CEO's job is to take a moment, stop, look around, look at data, see how that you can use the data to grow the company and build your culture.
Yeah, amazing. Is that something that you guys knew early on in the early stages of the company or something that you kind of figured out later, sounds like? Yeah.
I mean, we've learned so much when we started the company back in the like early 2000s. I mean, at that point I was working, I wasn't fully in it. I was still working in TV, but I still was part of everything. I mean, we bootstrapped everything. Like we bootstrapped everything. This is 25 years of knowledge uh, and lessons learned and growth and failures along the way. You got to learn from your failures and embrace them and then really like acknowledge your wins, celebrate them and try and duplicate those.
Yeah, amazing. And I'm curious too, because even that growth dynamic, what would you say has been one of the challenging constraints around growth that you were able to kind of overcome that was really hard?
Um, all right, so this is going to sound very cliche, but you want to work on your business, not in your business, right? Is where you should be
Yeah.
for a growth mindset. And when we were much smaller, and I'm talking significantly smaller, you know, operationally, we had our hands in everything. And I think the delegating, creating positions as we grew and trusting those positions and letting them operate freely, that's really hard. You know, because as the owners, you have your hands on everything. But if you have on your hands on everything, then you're doing nothing.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. So, if this conversation is really hitting home and you want to get a real snapshot of what's working and what's not in your business, head on over to my website in the tools and tips section and you can have the business performance health check. In just about 15 minutes, you're going to see where the friction is and where your next growth opportunity lies within your company. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really great point. I mean, I know it's cliche, but there's so large companies that I, work with and talk to that they still really struggle delegating.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Mhm.
hard, and especially when you know as an owner, like, oh, you know, I can do this. Why would I have someone do that? But you have to, you
Yeah.
have to, and you also want to make your organization a healthy organization. The idea is for me to be replaceable, and for Mark to be replaceable, right? Like we're very much the heart and soul of this. But if you want to build a company that can scale and grow should do it without us.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
I think that makes sense.
I definitely agree with you. Yeah. Because if you're stuck in these specific positions, it's like the company can only grow and scale to your own limits, right? But if one day you even replace yourself in this position and then you're overseeing it in a new way, it's like, okay, well then it can continue to grow. It can continue to scale because I just stepped out and gave these daily job tasks to someone else. And it's like we just keep doing it over and over again until you literally can step out if you choose to. And then there's like your future option. Like, do I want to stay in the company because I love it? Or do I actually just want to go and oversee it, and do something else? And it's kind of cool because I feel like business really gives us that opportunity. And that's also a really sellable business, by the way, if people want to sell. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what people
Yes.
want to buy.
You
Yeah,
always want to say my business is not for sale, but you want it sellable,
totally. Totally.
right? That's the way you want it to be.
Yeah, and I'm curious too, like, are there any specific things that you put in place that have given you the opportunity to delegate with certainty, with more comfort that you could share?
Um, but we so many things, but I'm just thinking of what to say specifically.
You could do a few. I'm sure it's really helpful for
No, I'm
people.
just thinking right now, building our playbook, you
Mhm,
know. I love building the playbook. I don't want anyone to have to think to reinvent things. Like, look, common sense and instinct always prevail. However, a playbook, like a standard operational playbook, is so key to know that somebody can go right there and do it. Like our recruiting and onboarding.
mhm,
And also we use great software. Um, and that really helps because I know everything is structured in a designated way. And I can sleep well at night knowing things are being taken care of because we have checks and balances. We have, like our quality assurance specialist, right? I love this. She goes out and inspects our customer sites, and that's one to give customers reassurance, like we're double checking ourselves. And but we're sharing that with the customer, we're also sharing it with our site supervisors. But like it gives me peace of mind to know somebody's checking on this
mhm.
continuously on a schedule. That's a great system that we have in place.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's basic.
awesome.
That's not rocket science. But as you grow, all of these, our CFO, she's got her marching orders. We've got our controller, and our invoicing is just so beautiful and down. So I don't have to worry about collections. Um, our scheduling and our calendar to know how jobs are being dispatched.
Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing. So it's just having all those systems, the operations like continually refined so things are smooth and efficient and effective.
And regularly
Mhm,
scheduled meetings. So
mhm,
our sales team, we have a regularly scheduled meeting every Tuesday. So I'm not going, what are they doing? What are they doing? Like we talk about it. We share information. Even the huddles I was talking about, we
mhm.
have a 3 o'clock every Monday with the operations team. They all touch base. So these systems that you have in place means that nothing's going to go too far astray. And then regularly touching base and meeting with our customers is really, really important, and
Mhm.
of course your customers are everything. Your customers and your associates, two
Yeah,
most important parts of our lives.
that's awesome. That's really cool. And even that dynamic of the systems and operations, right? Like, what would you say was some of the operational dynamics that had the biggest impact on the business that helped you scale?
When we went to electronic timekeeping, geofencing, so the properties, so timekeeping's accurate, and
Mhm.
I mean just the software. The janitorial software is amazing because you're taking out sort of all of that manual minutia to streamline your operations so you can be out really working with your customers and working with your associates.
Yeah.
That's the best part. That that hands down. And then also, hiring leadership, having the ability to hire more leadership, that people, that makes all the difference.
Mhm.
People you trust, like I trust them. I know it's going to get done.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. I'm curious too, like, even are there certain KPIs that you love to track, like, on a weekly basis just to kinda keep a keep attention to the heartbeat of the company?
Yes. So KPIs. I'm snickering because KPIs are really, really important, but I have a love-hate with KPIs because
Same. Same.
I feel like our business is so fluid. So KPIs are very, very important and something to strive for. But you don't want to get so stuck on the KPIs that you're losing sight of the bigger picture. So I have like I said, a love hate. Well, look, customer retention and customer service is like our number one KPI. And why it might sound crazy, it's like 100% customer retention, 0% loss.
Yes.
Like, well, look, customers, businesses close, businesses move, businesses change ownership. So there's a natural ebb and flow, but that's the only reason I ever want to see a change. And that's the biggest KPI for us.
Yeah. Okay. Is keeping on that one. I think you make a
That's
really good
that's
point though.
yeah.
It's like when you get too stuck on it, it's like it could really cause challenges. Do you have an example of where just getting too stuck on a KPI kind of cause a little bit more chaos?
Um so we'll edit out my pause, but
You're good.
I do have a KPI that's based on maybe keeping overtime down, right?
Mhm.
And that's really important. Overtime is significant. However, you have to really look at the reason for the overtime, and you can't just eliminate all of it because that affects service. So you can't be completely driven by the bottom line and the
Mhm.
numbers because then you're losing the customer service side and the humanity. So that's just really important to not be spreadsheet driven. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this KPI is a motivation for you, but slow down because it's really important to look at the why of everything and the long-term decision making. It's not always about
Mhm.
making the most money. It's not about the highest margin. It's about longevity and doing the right thing.
Yeah. I love that.
So
I'm curious
that's an example of where,
you get stuck.
that's more important to me than the KPI.
I'm curious too because even that dynamic, I mean, you're right. There's like we look at a KPI, we could see the numbers off, we see something's awry, but if we just look at the number and we're not looking at the details behind it, you don't really have certainty what is occurring sometimes. So is that
Right.
something that you guys, I'm imagining, are covering in your regular meetings, or is there
Mhm.
somewhere else that you guys focus on it?
No, we
Mhm.
have regular meetings to discuss these things. I'll tell you a KPI though that I love. And I just thought of it. A KPI is, employee retention.
Mhm.
Because that tells me when we have good employee retention, low employee associate turnover, it tells me that we are hiring the right people, we're training people correctly,
Yeah,
we are following through, we have a culture that they enjoy, we've did everything right. And to me, that's a really important one that I I wouldn't want to change.
that's cool. I know people is one of your long-term strategies, so I
Yeah.
imagine that one's really exciting to see.
Yeah, it is really important. And if somebody has like zero turnover in all their jobs, I'm going to celebrate that. It means
Mhm.
that associates are happy. It means the customer's happy. It means the manager's happy. So that is a goal worth going for.
I'm curious too, like, how do you celebrate those wins within the company?
We do our I mean, just at our monthly meetings, I'm all
Mhm.
about the props. You know, I'm all about the props. Perhaps as we grow, areas we could focus on are more tangible contests. And that's the direction I'd love to see us go in as we grow. But for now, look, everyone's rewarded at some point, whether it's bonus or however, kudos, people are rewarded, but we really make sure that we um reward people properly in whatever form that is.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm curious too, like any other exciting things on the horizon for like the people culture dynamics. I know you focus on it a lot, so it sounds like you think about it a lot.
Do think about it a lot. Well, I'm just very excited about recognizing, continuing to recognize birthdays, continuing to recognize work anniversaries. And we have a mentoring program that I think is really exciting. Look, some people are less tech savvy than others. So those who are more tech
Mhm.
savvy, we're partnering with the other ones to help them, let's say, with janitorial software, or helping with training. So, I love the mentorship program. I don't know. That's the fun part of my job.
That is. It sounds like that's one of your favorite parts.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's very important to me.
Yeah, I can tell. I can definitely tell. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate you sharing everything about the business, the culture, how you guys have been growing it. It's been inspiring to listen to what you've created. And definitely, where can people find you, find the company if they want to find out more?
Certainly, my company is AK Building Services. So you can find us at akbuildingservices.com. You can also find me, Shari Cedar, on LinkedIn. And if you want to reach out, have a conversation, I'm happy to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you again for coming. I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this conversation, feel free to like it, share it with someone else who you might think would be inspired or interested by what we talked about. And thank you again, Sherry. This was great.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.